Hi, I'm back. Let's continue with our discussion about performing operations on dates. Remember that to a computer, a date is a number, it is a serial number, it is not a line of text. No matter how we make dates appear, as we saw here in column H on our worksheet up here, we can make it look any way we want, but if we format this as a date, then as you can see, look at that little formatting bar way up here, right in the middle of our ribbon where it says date. Okay, I'm hovering, I'm putting the cursor in all these boxes, they are formatted as dates. So no matter how you make it look format-wise, and we've found a wide variety of ways to do that, again, to the computer, that is a serial number date, and that means we can perform some functions and operations on them. And today I'm going to give you a couple of illustrations. I want to come down here to cell J16. I highlighted it in yellow because that's going to serve as our raw data, okay? We're going to assume that today is August 14th of 2018. Okay, now because that is formatted as a date, I didn't have to do anything special. I just punched in 8/14/18, and now that date is stored as some numeric value, okay, to the computer. But to us, it looks like a date, okay? Now, some of the operations we perform, first of all, remember there are many versions of Excel, some old, some new. And if you want to find, for example, the number of days in between two dates that you specify, in older versions of Excel, you had to perform an operation called days, $DAYS, and then in parens you'd put the two dates. Okay, nowadays it's a little easier. The more up-to-date versions of Excel are a little more forgiving, but if you run into Excel being fussy about this, it may be because you're using an older version, okay? So we'll put some dates into cells in column J. Because I've got them formatted as dates, it should appear that way. If not, we will fix it as we go. So let's say you want to know how many days there are between July 1st, 2018 and August 14th of 2018. Okay, let's put July 1st of 18 in the second yellow cell. Okay, now with this version of Excel, I can just hit equal sign. I can put in the end date, and I can say minus the other date, the start date, and it's going to give me 44 days, okay? 44 days, and I don't want to see decimals, so I'm just going to use my increase, decrease decimal right under that formatting box up here to bring it down to a nice round number like that. There are 44 days, all right? There are 31 days in July and 14 more days in August, so add them together, you're going to get 45, right? Ah, yeah, but you're saying how many days are in between those two dates. So it has been 44 days since July 1st. Okay, now, if you have an older version of Excel, that might not work. You might actually have to type in something like the days function. Oh, there's our little box helping us out. Days, open parens. There's the format, ladies and gentlemen. Enter your end date, comma, start date. Okay, I'm going to use my cursor to select those. Put the end date in first, put in a comma, put in the start date, close your parens, and ladies and gentlemen, there it is, 44 once again. Let's get rid of those awful decimal points, okay? So if you have an older version of Excel, you would use the days function, D-A-Y-S. A newer version of Excel, you just simply have to subtract the two values as if they were numbers, because remember, to the computer, they are numbers, all right? Okay, from there, let's eliminate that. We move on to another function. This one you got to watch out for because it's called date diff, difference in dates. Okay, now a moment ago we saw how to count the number of days in between two dates. Date diff will allow you to say, well, I don't want to see days. I want to know how many months it was, how many years it was. Okay, so you can add an additional argument inside the parentheses and you can find the answer. Here's why I said it's tricky. It's not tricky because of the syntax. It's tricky because the formula build is not going to help you. Date diff, for some reason, in this version of Excel has been struck. So the formula build is not going to help you, but it still works. That's the thing. Okay? So there's more flexibility because you can specify the units in which you're counting. You're not restricted to days. It can be days, months, or years. So let's see. Let's change this date to 1/1/2017. And let's see how long it's been between those days. All right, now you've got to watch date diff. We're putting an equal sign, date diff. You've got to watch it because in the last operation we did, days, right, D-A-Y-S, we put the end date, comma, start date. In date diff, you don't. You switch them around. You put the start date first, and then you put the end date, okay? By the way, you can type those in. I like to use cell references because the date's already there, friends, right? Any of these dates you see in column H, you could perform these operations on very simply. Okay, so to use date diff, we are going to find out how many days since 1/1/17 have transpired up till now, August 14th of this year, 2018. So I type in date diff. You'll notice it's trying to help me, but it's not going to help me much. Watch this. I'm going to put my start date in. There it is. I put in my comma. Okay. Now again, I should be seeing a line of syntax helping me right below where I'm typing, and it's not. That's because of what I said before about date diff not really showing up in this function, even though the function, in this version, even though the function still works. All right, then I type in my end date. Okay, now if I close my parens right now, it's not going to work because I need a third argument. Date diff wants me to put in whether I want days, months, or years. It wants me to put them in a quote. I close my parens now. Okay, there have been 590 days. Okay, that's it. Trust me on that. Count them if you wish. Take 365 days for 2017, count the number of days in 2018. It should equal 590 days. All right, but now here's what I'm going to do. Date diff, we don't just want to count days. We could say I'm going up to the formula bar, and I'm going to change that quote D unquote to months. Let's see how many months. I'm going to type in M instead of D, have gone by. I hit return. All right, it's been 19 months. 12 months throughout 2017. And now we are in the 8th month, okay, but the 8th month is not complete in 2018, so only full months are counted. So 12 months last year and 7 full months this year equal 19. That's how many months have elapsed since 1/1/17. If I want to count the number of years, I would just come back up to the formula bar. I would change the M to a Y. And of course, it only counts full units and only 1 year is transpired. We're still in the 2nd year, so it returns the number 1. This is very handy for putting together functions. Remember, you can nest these things of saying, how long has it been since December 5th of 1995? Okay, you can say, well, it's been X number of years, X number of months, X number of days. Okay, so that is how date diff works. And I have found this helpful in my career. All right, okay. Now I'm going to show you another one. I'm going to change this this date back to July 1st of 2018 for my next illustration. Let's get rid of that set of contents in 18. The next one I'm going to show you is called net work days. Now, okay, now I've showed you how to count the number of days between two dates. But let's say you're working for an employer and they don't want to count weekends. They want to say how many work days, how many Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, how many work days have there been from this date till that date? How many work days have there been from 7/1/18 to August 14th of 18? All right, here's how easy it is, ladies and gentlemen. You type in the equal sign. The command is net work days. This is the formula, and now I'll show you the syntax. There's my formula builder. It's all ready to help me. It's ready to go. I open my parens. Once again, I give it a start date. I'm going to pick July 1st in cell J17. I put in a comma to separate them. I come up and I put in my end date. Now you see that there's an optional third argument inside the parens according to my little helper there. Okay? That means that I can specify holidays being subtracted. I'm not going to do that now. Because it's in brackets inside of those parens, that means it's optional. I don't have to put an argument there, rather. All right. How many days have there been? We saw earlier that there were 44 days. Okay, let me remind you of that. I'm going to take an equal sign. I don't even need an equal sign. With this version of Excel, to count the number of days, I can take my end date minus my start date. All right, you will remember that there were 44 days separating the two dates. Now it's telling me, of those 44, 32 of them were work days. Okay, now let's prove this. I happen to have a calendar here for 2018. So I'm going to look. I'm actually going to look at July of 2018 and August of 2018. And July had 1, 2, 3, 4. And August so far has had 2 full weekends. The next one has not passed yet. Okay, so 6 weekends, 2 days each means 12 days. Is there a difference in 12 days between these two counts? It sure looks like it to me. There it is. So of the 44 days that we did count in between those two dates, full days, regular days, 32 of them were work days. Okay, I hope you find that helpful. All right. Another one, here's another handy one. If you want to find what fraction of a year has passed so far, okay, we've seen that we're on August 14th. What fraction of the whole year does that represent if you want to think in terms of, say, percentages, okay? The formula to do that is very handy. It's called year fraction, obviously. I open my parens. I enter, as you can see in my helper, the start date. I put in a comma. I put in the end date. Don't worry about the basis for now. That's an optional argument. I close my parens. Okay. It gives me a 0. Huh, why is that? Because it's a percentage, ladies and gentlemen. What percent fraction of the year has gone by? All I have to do is add some decimal places. Okay. And there you have it. All right. Matter of fact, let's make this more interesting. Okay, what I did is I said what fraction starting on July 1st. That would be a fiscal year. Let's change that and make it easier. Let's make it a calendar year instead, because that's what most of us are accustomed to. You can see that the fraction of the full calendar year 2018 actually is 0.619, call it 62%. What does that mean? It means that as of August 14th, 62% of this year has gone by. Okay, if you want to do a little proof, you can. You can say, let's take the days that have gone by so far. January has 31 days, 28 for February, 31 for March, 30 for April, 31 for May, 30 for June, 31 for July, and don't forget 14 for August so far. If you were doing this longhand, that would be your numerator, the actual number of days that have passed so far month by month. Add them all up. Divide it by 365 days in the year, and I'm going to multiply it by 100, because that's how I like to see my percentages. 62%, ladies and gentlemen, there's your proof, okay? So on a calendar basis, 62%, as of 8/14, 62% of the year has gone by. That's the year frac function. All right, finally, the last one I'm going to give you in this series of calculations, and there are many, is called date value. Let's assume that you have an actual date and you've typed that date in as text. Let's say you accidentally make this text 8/15/18. It still wants to give me a date or a number there, so I'm going to change it up in my formatting bar to text. Okay, now right now, look, that is text. Now for some reason, let's say you've accidentally entered a date as text and you say, oh, I want to see that as a number. Okay, what do? The formula is called date value. The function, I'm sorry, not the formula. I explained that those are different. Okay, I can say, take that date, even though it is entered as text, okay, and give me the value that it represents. It is day 43,327, okay? Now that means I can also perform functions on it now that I know that number. So if you accidentally enter dates as text, rather than having to re-enter them all or reformat, that's a nice little shortcut for you. Okay? All right, that concludes my lecture on the number of date functions that I have used and that I feel are most readily applicable. I want to show you this very quickly. This is an extract of the site that I love so much that I've used to rely upon whenever I have to look up and verify something for you during the series of lectures. Look at all the date and time functions that they have. This table allows you, instead of knowing the function and look up what it does, is to look up something that you want to get done, and it will tell you which function to use. So this is really, really handy. Look at some of these, and above all, look how many there are. So, and you can work on time as well. We've stuck with dates, okay? But remember, you can do operations on time as well. The logic is similar. So look at some of these functions and play with them. Remember our mantra, okay? This is only an introduction that I've tried to give you to introduce you to date calculations. So our mantra is explore, experiment, and by doing so, excel. Okay? That's all for today. Thank you very much. And I'll be back with the final couple of lectures in the entire series, and we're going to start wrapping up Batch 3. Thank you. Back to you soon. Bye.